Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the How's Your Touch podcast, covering all things Scottish women's football. I'm Peter, and as always, I'm joined by Matt here off a full day of work. How you doing, Matt?
Okay. It's quite funny. We've had a whole preamble to this, and you still haven't noticed the really obvious thing that's changed about me since the last time we recorded this podcast. And
You spiked your hair? I just thought you had had a shower or something because your hair was quite spiky. Is that wrong?
what colour was my hair last week?
You had a hat on.
What colour was I was round at your flat and I wasn't wearing a hat.
So you're not longer blonde?
Yeah, I've dyed
All
my
right.
hair
Woo.
brown. I feel like you should have noticed.
You know,
that.
your hair is brown. You know, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Dyeing your hair the colour your hair is?
Well, because it was bleached. You can't get bleach out.
Do you know that you stripped it or something? Thought you were gonna go bald again.
No. I reckon I could get a genuine. I could get a face tattoo. And I don't think you'd notice.
No, it depends where it was, but yeah, I don't know if it's sad.
Right across my forehead.
Yeah, I got a haircut. You didn't say anything.
You've had the same haircut since we met 10 years ago.
Yeah. Consistency, like Mark Zuckerberg, with the same thing every day. Get the same haircut every 4 weeks, whatever. Yeah, so you're good anyway, apart from you dyeing your hair.
Having less fun.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, that's fair. Fair enough, yeah. I'm gonna get two, thanks for asking.
I think I did before I said that, but
I'm not sure. People can say, well, anyway.
I definitely asked before we started recording, just for the record.
Yeah. I mean, I see you.
I'm glad to see that the progress in moving in has.
I moved. Progressed. Last week there was a bamboo thing there. It's gone.
You've got a light.
I think the lampshade was there maybe last week. I can't remember.
Was it? I don't think so.
I can't remember, but it's there this week. Listen, that's all I've done in a week, put lampshade up.
Yeah.
But actually, listeners will like to know I did put up that cup rack that I was confused about how you did it. I just eyeballed it, and I got it right.
Oh, we were talking about levels.
Yes. Yeah, and you said to use. I didn't have any tape, so I didn't do that. I just put in one hole and then eyeballed it from there with a measuring tape on my phone. Got it first time. Pretty impressed. And then I was pretty sure it wasn't straight, but every spirit level I used said it was exactly 0 degrees, so must be perfectly straight. Anyway, that's just if you listened last week. If you haven't listened last week, go listen to it because you can find that on YouTube and every other, and Spotify and Apple Music and Google and everywhere. So make sure you're listening to us and following us everywhere. But we do have actual women's football to talk about this week. I think before we get into the main body, a couple fun bits. First of all, Caroline Weir, first ever Scottish woman to be nominated for the Ballon d'Or, which is a crazy thing to say, obviously because of previous good footballers we've had. But Caroline Weir did come 30th in the Ballon d'Or, which again, disgrace. But
30
it's okay.
places too low.
30 places too low. You know, especially if people say that Alessia Russo should win it is fucking crazy when Caroline Weir exists in the first place, let alone other good footballers. But
what I find weird is that no one's angry that Marta didn't win it when she dragged Orlando to the title of the best league in the world, like level of league. Mm-hmm. The SWPL is the best league in the world, but
the
best level or whatever. And then came out of retirement for Brazil to drag them to the Copa America.
Yeah, but we only care about the Euros and Lionesses. That's all that matters. Listen,
she should also have the name brand stuff. So that annoyed me. Just generally.
Yeah, it all annoys me, to be fair. It's very Eurocentric.
Marta should have won it. Bonmatí shouldn't have been.
Was she even top 10?
No, Marta was 12th.
Wow.
Yeah, she's a NWSL player, which is bonkers because Temwa Chewinga should have also been way up there.
It's all just because of the Ballon d'Or vote is stupid, but it's all based off of the Lionesses and who plays the Lionesses in the Euros. That's why Spain didn't win it, but
I hate to agree with Americans, but they have a point when they talk about how Eurocentric it is.
For women's football, it's really bad recently.
Exists. And it's kind
of going backwards. It was 10 years ago. It was obsessed with America, and all of a sudden it's as if America doesn't exist, which is crazy.
Yeah, it is wild. Do want to also mention, might be the first Scottish player to be nominated for the Ballon d'Or, but Kim Little was nominated or I'm pretty sure she was nominated for the FIFA Best Award, which
this year or in the past
2 decades.
Yeah, I
before
mean,
the Ballon d'Or bothered to include women.
yeah.
So again,
So she's
not to give FIFA credit, but congratulations, FIFA! You realised that women play football in the 2000s
before the
in
French football, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's fair. But yeah,
Just
well,
worth noting because Kimberly is still the greatest.
Yeah. And well, congrats to Caroline Weir, anyways. So, and go watch Galactica if you haven't watched that yet, actually, because that was a documentary that happened and seemed to do another one.
Caroline, if you're listening, we would have voted you number one.
Yeah,
to be really clear.
Someone, when are we getting the Ballon d'Or vote? When does that happen? But no, any
just
other
nicer to France football.
Sorry, I thought just DM them. By the way, looking for a Scottish vote question mark. Yeah. Oh yeah, why not? But yeah, any other news we had with the Europa Cup? Obviously, we had Hibs went out. Obviously, into Milan. Better performance at Easter Road. But I think with a 3-1 Easter Road rather than 4-1. Yeah, they went out.
It was a good performance both games. It's a shame we had to play against the referee twice. No, I don't think that the referee was biased against Hibs, but I do think that those two games are the worst refereeing performance I've seen Hibs play in for a long time. And that's including SWPL referees. It was atrocious.
We know your thoughts on the Noah Schumacher red card. So, no.
It's just not a red card because it's not dogs though, because Lindsay Taylor has the ball, and the player changes the direction of her run to run into Noah Schumacher. So it just, to me, just don't think it's really fair, especially considering their goalkeeper came and took out Ailey Adams in the first half. Which actually was Dogso, and then it's there's no contact, and it's like,
yeah, well, what are you gonna do, Matt? These European refs.
Yeah, and also the same thing. This has been a frustration I've had all season, but it seems like it takes one foul for a Hibs player to get booked and 15 fouls for an opposition player to get booked. But that might be a little bit of me being biased.
I think that's maybe a wee bit. But on the other side, we had Glasgow City. They beat Athlone United 3-0 again. Was it 6-0? Yeah, Athlone Town. I guess I said United last week. Sorry, Athlone United is a better name. Change your name. But they beat them 3-0 again, I think, wasn't it? So 6-0 now. Yeah, I'm quite comfortably through. Yeah. And they're through into the next round. And I should have looked up who they're playing before.
They're playing HB Koye from...
Say that again.
Denmark,
okay. And that is... Just I'm confused because you said every round was a two-legged knockout. However, they keep calling this a qualifying round. When does it become the fucking real thing?
After this round. This is...
But they just continue playing one two-legged knockouts.
I think the Europa Cup should just be the Europa Cup from the first round. I don't really understand why they do.
Okay.
It should just be called the first round, the second round, and then the round... Because I'm pretty sure it's the round of 16 next.
After that. Yeah, it must be. Anyway.
Or
so,
32, but
those games are soon too, aren't they? Not have to wait too long for these.
They are in October.
Yeah, so that's soon because we're at the end of September.
They're in the midweek of October, so I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that they are...
Going out on a limb as we watch you look at your computer screen.
I'm looking at the calendar.
Right, okay, sure.
It's the 15th, 16th, and the 22nd, 23rd of October.
Well, glad to see. I'm sure we'll post all about that, where you can watch it, how you get tickets to Peter Sale, all that kind of stuff. That should be cool to see.
Mentioning, because there were so many complaints about the fact that it wasn't broadcast, even though it was broadcast for the last games. There were complaints mostly from WSL fans, so I imagine they don't care anyway. But, it's up to the home club to organise broadcast. So essentially, there's no central broadcast deal for the qualifying rounds, the same as the Champions League. So the BBC would have to approach HB Koye for the away game, Glasgow City for the home game. Other broadcasters may also approach them. It doesn't have to be the BBC.
YouTube,
most likely.
Yes. Okay. So it's probably
do it themselves. More likely just stream it on YouTube if they were by choice.
Well, we'll keep an eye. I'm sure City are pretty good. They'll explain. They're a legitimate football club. So if you're looking to find out where they're filming it, just go on their page, and they will tell you, I'm sure. But yeah, any other kind of news happened in the past week?
Rangers have signed some players.
Yeah. But you can see a full rundown of players who've been signed on our thing. So
a week after deadline day, they were like, "Look, we've signed." Which,
Caird
fair
signed
enough.
someone as signed a striker as well, literally like 2 days ago, and I've just decided it's okay.
I think that clubs should be like not allowed to like they should be given the day after deadline day. I
No,
think that's fine. I don't love it, but I think it's fine if they have to take
take
an
a
extra
day
day.
to get the graphic
But
out there. Yeah,
yeah, but like announcing someone a week after the window closed, come on.
it's still nice SWPL heritage though to like just
No.
the league puts in a transfer window and none of the clubs, well, they all abide by it, but none of them like some clubs
That's
don't abide
stupid,
by it
though.
actually, which happens a lot. But
it's just stupid. It's hard for us to then like cover the league because like we're like, oh, the squads are done, and then they're not, and then it's like 3 weeks later.
yeah,
And
or
the
it's
squad's
like
still not done.
you go out there, you pick your player of the year, and then they get sold randomly.
They leave.
So,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I
very
can't
frustrating.
imagine it's ideal for managers either to have to like deal with the fact that
Yeah, you think your
they,
squad settled, but yeah.
yeah, we've got squad signing stuff to talk about when we talk about Celtic, so I'll save it for that. But
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
I can't imagine it's super fun to be Leanne Crichton and have 4 players on the bench because your 2 new signings aren't ready yet because
yeah,
they
that would
signed
be
2 days ago.
yeah. Well, that's a good segue to talk about Celtic. So we'll take a quick break and we'll get back into it with all the action from the SWPL 1. Yeah, full game week in the SWPL 1 again as well. I think the first game we want to chat about was Hibs Celtic, obviously, because Hibs fan, Celtic fan, part of the thing, isn't it? 1-1 draw. Elena Sadiku said it was a good or a fair result after the game. Grant Scott
So
said
did Grant Scott.
more or less the same thing in not as many words because Grant Scott, he speaks less than Elena Sadiku, which is probably fair, I guess. Yeah, Celtic were pretty strong first half. Hibs kind of grew into it way more, and then at the end, last like 20 minutes of the game was all Hibs basically. So a draw is probably a fair result. Lisa Rogers had a good game, although I do think also think Noah Schumacher had a pretty good game. So you're going to tell me that Hibs should have won 4-0?
Yeah, I think no. I think it wasn't an even game. It was a really good game. I think it was an even game, and a draw probably the fair result. Do want to mention that Hibs had nearly 20 shots to Celtic's 8. I think that is
I know, but Celtic's 8 were really good
in the
shots.
discussion. They weren't. I think it's relevant in the discussion of how even this game actually was. I think the first half, like the first 20 minutes, like essentially, I think Celtic had a really good half an hour before and after halftime.
And in that time, but I'd say Celtic made more clear-cut chances. Yeah, the Striek chance.
I don't think that's fair. When you've got
yeah, but they were all pot shots.
They weren't though. One of them was at a basically open goal.
So.
But yeah, I think a draw was a fair result. I do think as well, because it was annoying me on the commentary, because they kept talking about Callagher being outstrengthed by McEnany.
McEnany did have run toast. So. Oh my god. Relax. No. It isn't a foul. No.
If that happened the other way around, you would be screaming bloody murder.
Callagher needs to be stronger there. It's only McEnany. It's not as if she's some huge monster. Like,
I mean, she's quite tall.
Come on, actually, McEnany had Callagher, man.
Callagher's also not on the ground. Hibs should defend it much better, but like, it's a shove in the back. It's not a strength.
It's not a foul. It's not a foul.
But yeah, I mean, Hibs are obviously inches away from winning, which is probably the more frustrating bit. And it's not even just inches away in terms of that last chance. There were a lot of opportunities where the sort of like final movements and stuff were not so good.
But it's the same with Celtic though. Celtic had 2 or 3 chances where if the ball is 2 inches to the right, it goes in. So
yeah, but I'm thinking of like for example,
thinking from a Hibs point of view.
Well, I'm thinking like for example, Bowie's chance where Rosie Livingston's taken out last defender on the edge of the box and there's no booking for it, and the ball falls to Bowie, who then has to shot straight at the keeper. That's what I'm thinking of, like that kind of thing where it's like really is a matter of that should end in a goal rather than like Noah Schumacher making that incredible diving save towards the end of the game where she caught the ball. Like
it was also the Striek chance should have been a goal. Like she has the ball 5 yards away from goal and doesn't score. But
I think you then that comes because Hibs make a mess of it, specifically.
So what?
Like failing to clear the ball. I think that's the difference. But I say I still think it draws. I think it draws a fair result. It was a really good game. I think there's a noticeable lack of Kirsten Riley in the Hibs midfield. And I think that it's not just because she's gone, because I also think we need to. I think Grant Scott needs to make a decision on if he's going to play Ailey Adams in the middle. It needs to just be a 4-4-2. I don't think it works with her in the 10 because her, Ellis Notley, and Kiara Grant were just getting each other's way. Like, the two DMs couldn't progress forward because Ailey Adams was there, because Ailey Adams was dropping deep because she was frustrated about not getting the ball. But then Adams is too far away from the goal to have like much influence and is just crowded out, which then just sort of stops a lot of attacks. And I think we're better when she's closer to goal. Like, you lose a lot of her goal threat if she's dropping in deep. I think that's just it's just like sort of frustrating. And I think it does make a difference that Riley's not there, because I think that if Riley's not there, Grant has to drop deeper, or Notley has to drop deeper, but neither of them really want to. They both want to be on the ball a bit further forward, and you sort of lose that. I think Fitzgerald, when she came on, had a bit of that sort of like Riley aura of calmness and ability just to sit and not panic and get too involved. There wasn't the need to. It didn't seem like she felt the need to progress the ball forward in the way that Notley and Grant were trying to, unsuccessfully. So I think either we need to go, we're just going to play 4-4-2 and Grant and McGovern can play up front together, or Adams need to go back onto the right wing.
Yeah.
Which Adams doesn't want to do. Like, that's not her preferred position, but I think she's better there than when she plays number 10.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it's probably some of it from Celtic's point of view as well, of like, I think it's the second game now, like thinking back to the Hearts game as well, where Celtic have like had a good period of time, got on ahead, and then seemingly gone a bit more cautious and a bit more like, and then invited a lot of pressure, which we did it, almost ended up losing points in the Hearts game. And then in this game, is not that we let Hibs get back into it, but it gave Hibs more opportunity to get back into it. And it feels conscious because last season, I think like there's a lot of games that Celtic completely lost. Like they had a good thing, thinking like a City game last season, things like that, where we were winning and then we'd lose the game completely in the second half. So it seems like a conscious effort from City to be more like reserved and have like an approach for when we're in the lead. But I don't know. So far, seems a little bit too reserved. Like it just seems to be inviting pressure recently.
Yeah. I think
but I guess
part of it though does come from, like, I think Momo Nakao, for example. I think she had I don't really get why she was playing where she was playing, like sort of on the left wing, but not really. It seemed odd. She played
total
quite
football
a
or
few
something.
passes that would be great if Noonan was on the pitch.
Yeah,
But
that's also
Noonan
another
wasn't
thing
on
we're
the
missing.
pitch.
Yeah.
So it ended up just passing the ball to Gallagher, and it was like, I don't. If it happened once, I don't think it would have been something that I had like thought of more than but it happened like probably almost 10 times.
Yeah.
And it's like, then it leans into what Sadiku's saying after the game, where she's saying she needs more strikers. And it's like, at some point you've got to adapt to the fact that Noonan's not there. You know she's not going to be there. You know that Gallagher's not going to make that run. So like, you need to change what you do.
It doesn't help Gallagher either. Gallagher, a player who like plays a lot with confidence, stuff like that, and you're trying to treat her like Noonan. She then gets frustrated and then doesn't play as well, and then kind of spirals from there. Really.
And I think this is a more general criticism of Sadiku, but I just find it so strange that she's like, Celtic have a squad of 25, right?
Yeah.
And after the game, she's saying she needs more strikers. So you want a squad more than 25? You're in 3 competitions. You don't need that many players.
Plus, she's also spoke about wanting to be way more consistent this year.
Yeah.
So
every single team that is in a title race with her, so Glasgow City, Rangers, and Hibs, all 3 of those, backup striker is an academy graduate. Where's Celtic's academy graduate? Why can all 3 of them find that solution? Or if you're going to take Kirsty Morrison out of the equation, right? So say for Hibs, if McGovern, Adams, and Kirsty Morrison all get injured at the same time, Rosie Livingston will just play up front. There's another academy graduate, or Hannah Jordan, who signed from Spartans, can play up front. Like, Grant Scott has built a squad where a number of players can play in a number of positions, and it's got depth, in key areas. anyway. Like we've got now with the new signings, we've got 4 centre backs, we've got 3 defensive midfielders, etc. But for some reason, Sadiku, who has more resources than Grant Scott, can't do that. And then you can do the same at Rangers. Rangers have a squad of 23, so a smaller squad, but they're not having the problem of if Kate Wilkinson gets injured, what do? Well, they just play Laura Berry, or they play Lizzie Arnott up front, or they play Macaulay up front. Like they find a solution. Glasgow City can find a solution, and it's kind of a frustration I have just generally because I feel like too many managers get away with just going, well, I don't have the resources, I don't have the players, I need more recruitment. Recruitment is your job. Like
it literally is
it's on
Sadiki's
you.
job.
Yeah, resources. You've like literally this week just opened up probably the best training facility in the SWPL. So I find it difficult to have sympathy for a manager that's then saying, I don't have the resources or I don't have the players because everyone else has managed it. You know what
I mean, but it's also I don't know.
Like Noonan.
But like, I don't think Noonan or not is the difference between us winning that game necessarily.
Yeah.
So
I don't either, but like, it's more because that's where she points it.
Yeah.
And then if you are Gallagher, for example, that's a hit to your confidence. If you're, she brings off, she brings off Cross who comes off injured, who also could play up front, and she brings on the academy graduate that was on loan at Motherwell last season.
McGoldrick.
Yeah, she brings on McGoldrick.
Yeah.
So how's McGoldrick taking that? Like that's not like if you're saying, oh, actually, I'd rather sign a 28-year-old from the WSL2 or someone straight out of college to play.
Yeah, I'm confused with some of the stuff.
Signed like 8 centre backs.
Yeah, listen, it's weird because Sadiku had also said things like Dawson and McGoldrick probably wouldn't play much this season, and then they've played more or less in every game. So I'm never too sure with Sadiku whether you take what she says. I can't. Sometimes she's so like, this is the truth, and then that's what happens, and sometimes it's like it's just the opposite. So
to me, anyway, it's because it plays into the Celtic fans like currently, like how Celtic fans feel about X number of players have gone out and only X number have come in, but it's still a squad of 25. Every other, and yes, I'm including Sienna McGoldrick and Dara Dawson in that, but like I'm including Taylor in Hibs 25.
But I think
May Croft in Rangers 23.
But I think with Celtic, spoke about before with Celtic, but like there should be confidence in Celtic Football Club, as you say with Barrowfield and all that the 16, 17-year-olds coming out of the academy are of a level to compete with a lot of these players, particularly like maybe not necessarily Hibs probably as well. Like they should be good enough to come into these games. And I think they show like Dara Dawson has shown that she is that level, or not necessarily that she should be our starting right back, but we can come into these games quite comfortably, and it will only get better. So I don't see why there's like the need to put her down.
Like Livingston obviously starts. Livingston is currently keeping players that were signed to play in those positions. Like she's keeping Birchall at the team, for example. She's like 19.
Yeah,
Hibs have had faith in her for a long time out at the academy. I would have faith if we needed to start one of the 16-year-olds. Like when Armitage comes on against Inter Milan. That's the thing that you see that with Rangers and you see that with City, I feel.
Yeah. That's how they've got Lisa Forrest playing really well, and they had confidence in her and kept playing her. So
exactly, like Ava Easton obviously was backup goalie for them last season, and then this season obviously goes out on loan to Montrose. But I feel like you're seeing that with other clubs, and I feel like Celtic there seems to be a reluctance to ever give anyone a chance. Out the academy, and then they're also complaining about not having players. And I'm like, you've got players. And I say, if Noonan is going to be such a big part of your system, as the manager and head of recruitment, you should be then going, okay, I need to bring in a striker of that mould.
That's what I mean, like
instead of bringing in Strychek, for example.
Like we should have been.
I don't know where she fits in now that you signed Hannah Luke, because I thought she was being brought in to play left back.
I don't know. But I agree with that.
Bring in Porter because you've got Dawson and you have faith in the centre backs at the club, and then Chloe Craig's obviously to come back. And then you go, okay, we don't need Quarter. We can bring in a striker instead. And you might say, oh, it's a risk for Hibs, for example. Because if Riley gets injured, we're left with a midfield of Grant and Notley and only Fitzgerald to come in. But having that risk isn't the end of the world. Because we could also change the system if we needed to. And adapt to not having the player.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's the issue. More generally, from a Celtic point of view, I just feel like there's not been an acknowledgement that Noonan's not there. It seems like you're just playing the same way, and then no one gets on the end of the cross, and it's like,
I think that's a very fair criticism, and I think it's kind of unfair to say on Gallagher. And from a recruitment point of view, should have signed a backup striker who is a number 9. So why didn't you? But anyway, that end game ended.
Look a lot stronger this season. I think
They look a lot more comfortable this year. But yeah, I think there's still a bit of like a couple pieces left that CDQ seems to be. Yeah, and it's also our last season, which maybe we'll talk about something later on. This is our last year of our contract, so what happens?
That could be a good thing when it comes to January, or it could be a really bad thing. It's not like
well, it depends. Yeah, it's interesting where point to be at. But yeah, anyway, moving on. Speaking about managers that we have analysed, Motherwell v Partick Thistle was another game to chat about. One of our games that I think we'd eyed as probably a top 6 contender start of the season. Neither team started very well. I think that's now. This game ended 1-1, so I think both teams have only won one game from their first 6, which isn't a great start for two teams who had ambitions of being 6th spot, and then given Hearts' form, could have even been pushing for 5th if they'd been on the boil from the beginning. But yeah, it was 1-1. David Elliott's Thistle, which we've done Matt in particular did a really good analytical piece on. You can read that on our Substack, and it's all posted on Twitter, Instagram, things like that for you to read. Goes in a lot of detail about how they played. Yeah, a stamp of approval from the man himself, which I guess that's what Thistle do. Read that. Opposing managers read that piece, and you can figure out how to get past City's 4-1 defensive structure. Anyway, it's all in the article. Read it; it's very interesting. But Thistle were, and in David Elliott's own words, I think pretty poor the other day. Motherwell, I think they're very lucky to get away with a draw. I think Motherwell will be really frustrated because I thought they played pretty well. I think something we spoke about last week, kind of the inconsistency of Motherwell. I think this was a game where that was a peak of Motherwell's performance. They played really, really well. I think Bailey Collins had some really good chances, impressed off the wing, but a bit of a finishing kind of problem. Could have probably been a couple goals up quite comfortably, but only ended at 1-0, and then you kind of end up getting hit with a complete fluke goal in the last 5 minutes, and you end up dropping 2 points and leaving really, really frustrated. But a kind of interesting game overall. I'm not sure where these teams are going to come end of the season actually now after that. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I think similarly, I think Hearts don't look convincing. I say that as a fan of the team that they beat. But I think outside of that game, I think Hearts have looked like they've regressed on last season. And that does open up the possibility of 5th becoming a real conversation that Motherwell, Partick Thistle and Aberdeen should be having. And I feel like all 3 of them are kind of failing to take advantage of that. We're not going to talk about it in detail, but Aberdeen obviously losing 3-0 to Rangers this weekend. It was 0-0 till the 70th minute. They have chances in that game to take the lead, and then it's individual errors that cost them. And it's the same conversation we've been having with them of, I don't know where they go, because I don't know what the barrier is for them to actually make that next step, because I don't think that if they'd have scored, maybe I would be thinking they had a more impressive game, but they didn't. But then in this one, similarly, Motherwell's goal is a penalty, and I'm not sure it's a penalty that gets given every time.
No, yeah, I do think it is a penalty, but which you're going to laugh at me for, because I said that the Murray McEnany wasn't.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Though I think the McEnany one's a foul, but I don't think it's like the most egregious foul ever, and has to be given. If that goal happens in a league with VAR and it's given on field, I don't want that being overturned. That's up to the referee to determine what they're accepting.
But this penalty, was
a Celtic Hibs game was that potentially it wasn't being accepted the other way around, because I think potentially I think it's maybe got in some people's heads that Hibs are a physical team, so then they're not allowed to be a physical team, but teams are allowed to be physical to Hibs. It's kind of where it comes from.
Okay.
But this one, I think it's a penalty, probably, but I kind of have difficulty with it. Yeah,
I think why it gets given is it is both arms in the face. Both arms end up in the face of the Motherwell attacker.
McCulloch should know much, much better. And she'll know that, and she'll be frustrated by that. But equally, I think Collins plays for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's not as if, I mean, they're contesting a header and she gets hit in the head, face kind of thing, and it probably is a foul, but it's not as if it's, I agree with your point at the start there of like, it's probably the exact same thing will happen next week and you probably will not see a penalty given for it.
It'll be waved away.
Which is frustrating.
I think that's probably the big Motherwell concern is that, just they can play well, they can cause Thistle problems, they can, they can be frustrated to drop the points, but they haven't really convinced. It's 1-0 from a penalty that isn't a stonewall penalty. It's not like, I think it should be, because Motherwell fans, in case they're listening, are going to be like, it's definitely a penalty. I think it's a penalty. I don't think it'll be given every time. And it's not a situation that you're going to find yourself in every single time as well. Like, it's a bit of a calamitous build up to end up with the ball in the air in the situation that it is. So I just think like that would be a concern for me. I think, again, I said it last week, they've got the players to be putting 3 past Thistle.
Yeah, well, they created the opportunities to also do that.
And then they're not doing it, and that's the long-term frustration I've had with Motherwell. I do think they're maybe lucky to actually come away with a point here, because I'm pretty sure, obviously we don't have great angles, so this might be total nonsense, but I'm pretty sure Cameron carried the ball over the line for the Rennie free kick that she caught. The Partick Thistle player seemed very convinced she did, and she looks quite sheepish about it when it happens. And then she obviously should just catch Bates' cross. I don't understand how that's
just caught out into it, really, but
that's the keeper of her level. And that would have been obviously 2 pretty significant individual mistakes if they had dropped the points, like all the 1 point. But I do wonder if we had goal line tech or just a better camera angle, how
would it? Yeah,
that looks.
was it
from the camera angle in the stand, it looks like she carries that over the line, and it should be a pretty straightforward catch. And she did catch it quite straightforward. It wasn't like it was, it's just that then she takes the couple steps back the goalkeepers do, and I don't think she puts her arms out quick enough. So I think the ball continues with her over the line before she puts her arms out.
Well, we'll never ever know, basically.
No, because she'll say it wasn't, and the part of the players will say it was. I imagine is how it'll go.
Probably how that would go. Neither manager would seem to be too bothered.
Yeah, it's more just like a concerning thing where if you think of Motherwell, you quite often think of individual errors costing them big points, and I think that's this game is individual errors in finishing and individual error in goal that end up, as I say, like a keeper of her level, and she'll know herself, shouldn't be conceding that goal.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, but the whole she should never be in a position on that wing to whip it in like that in the first place. Really, quite uncontested. Yeah, it's interesting. It's the same from others. What you say, just the inconsistency of them this season, with the really good performance, league, and then in this game is kind of all of that in one. Like playing really, really well, getting some good chances, but then you say just like not finishing and then conceding kind of poor goal at the end, and I don't know, like having peaks and troughs within the game, which they have to figure out if they want to try and get back top 6. I mean, it's not as if they've fallen off the pace; they're only 2 points off Montrose, who are currently 6th. So it's whatever they might,
It is obviously really early on, and also probably worth noting that I think similarly with Hibs, they've had a pretty brutal first 6, first 5 for Hibs. So I was looking at it because obviously you look at the table and you go, Hibs title defence, but then you realise that we've played everyone but Glasgow City.
Motherwell the same actually. They've played everyone but I think Hibs and Celtic. So for the top few. So
so you've got easier games to come in theory, obviously.
Which maybe they'll pick up like a run of form and kind of consistency that way, I suppose.
Which is what we've been talking about as well with the new structure of those teams not being able to. They don't have like as many opportunities to play 3 games back to back against easier opposition. But if you do get a little run where you've got, one of the other teams in the top 6 race, a Hearts that are in poor form, Montrose, Accies, like you've got,
you can maybe pick up.
Although Montrose we should be talking about as being in the top 6 race at this point, I think.
Maybe a top 5 race. Maybe a top 5 race. But no, the thing on Montrose, because people might laugh at us picking the only 2 draws of the weekend. to talk about. But Montrose beat Accies 2-0. Really strong second half from Montrose, really poor second half from Accies, I think. I heard Bobby Watson was pretty fuming with his players after second half performance because it's definitely not good enough.
License holder Bobby Watson now.
What?
He's got an A license now.
Oh, did he? Congrats, Bobby. Well, maybe you should go A license for this game and not lost it 2-0. But no, it's good for Montrose again, continuing this kind of. They're beating everyone around them anyway. They beat Motherwell 4-1, beat Accies 2-0 here. It's kind of performances that'll definitely keep them up.
Yeah, Townsley could probably have had a hat trick in the first 20 minutes, but if you take
Didn't,
that
though.
20 minutes out of the game,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. No, that was good from them.
It's probably similar to, like, because we'll talk about it in literally just a second, it's probably quite similar between how Hamilton feel and how Hearts feel, with losing isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world, but the fact that the teams that they played didn't have to be exceptional to beat them so comfortably is the worst thing in the world. And like, Glasgow City were really good. But
it's interesting from Accies. From Accies, interesting. So I know what maybe we'll chat about in coming weeks as we'll see how Accies get on. Whether or not the gap from SWPL 2 to SWPL 1 is maybe bigger than anticipated, and whether or not it's a good thing or not. But I'll leave that in the air at the moment, and we can just see how Accies get on over the next few weeks. Yeah, as mentioned of the games that we had, Glasgow City put away 5 past Hearts, beat them 5-1. Again, you say kind of not that. I'm glad City are a good team and they scored 5 goals, play very well. But yeah, maybe not because they were 5-0 up, weren't they? So it's not as if probably didn't play that well.
It was a G. Libson moment as well for the goal.
Oh, classic. It's always one of them kicking around the season.
Not hurt.
So
I mean, it's good to get it out of the way in a 5 when you're 5.
Yeah,
it wasn't great. I do want to mention Lana Golob had her red card overturned, which was given for Dogzo, which is another bit of evidence pointing to the fact that it was not a red card for no issue because it literally was last defender. It was outside the box. It was textbook Dogzo.
Yeah,
and that's been overturned. So either the rule, no one knows what the rule is, and they've just overturned it because they can't be bothered trying to.
I'm going to go with that.
Yeah, or Dogzo doesn't exist, and
or it's a Glasgow City conspiracy in Glasgow City. Run the SFA or whoever does the appeals. Yeah. And the final game of the weekend was Rangers Aberdeen. Rangers beating 3-0. I think you mentioned it earlier about Aberdeen probably had a chance there to pick up some points. Katie Wilkinson again scoring a meaningful goal, which is very good. Listen, she's taking the criticism well. But then, as kind of mentioned, they were 1-0 up, but that was on this 62nd minute, and then they get 2 quick-fire goals in the last 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah, I'm getting worried because Rangers seem to have the Chelsea gene of winning when they're playing great, which is concerning for
Blues sisters. Or it's not that considering Rangers are bad. Nah, not going to win.
Yeah, but Chelsea haven't played well this season either, and they're also unbeaten at the top of the league at WSL. Like,
but Chelsea are always unbeaten top of the league WSL. They've not lost a game in like 8 years, some stupid thing like that. So it doesn't count. It's not a real league. They've not lost a game in the league.
Yeah, but you know what I mean though. Like they seem to have that. Like they obviously didn't.
Yeah, I'm saying that they battered Celtic 2-0, playing mid. So
that's what I mean. Like they played against Hearts, and Hearts and Rangers were both equally not great in that game, and they get a point out of it, even though they were 1-0 down. They beat Celtic when they weren't playing that great, and didn't even look like they had to really put their foot down. Yeah, not to really dig it in on Celtic fans.
Okay, we get the point.
It was pretty comfortable. When they play Hibs, they'll probably beat us comfortably.
Probably, you know I mean? But not the other. Yeah, it is interesting.
Impressive.
They are a good side. Well, kind of all starting to heat. I think it's played 6 games. Most people played 6 games. City and Hibs still to play. Their 6th one. But it's all heating up there. Lots of good games SWPL 1. I think we'll take a quick break then, and we'll come back, chat about some of the stuff in the SWPL 2 as well. Yeah, SWPL 2 had another 4 round of fixtures. Some exciting games down there as always in the SWPL 2. I think first one that kind of pops out immediately is the Dundee United v Stirling Uni game. 4-3 Dundee United, which is just hectic. I mean, Dundee United don't score that many goals usually. So Stirling Uni will be like, we scored 3. And then they lose 4-3. What does Stirling Uni have to do to get a point?
Defend.
Don't concede 4 goals might be a start.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I would say that Dundee United don't score that many goals, but that's mostly because they've been playing in SWPL 1 for the last couple of years.
Yeah. Bad sample
So I
size.
feel like
So
it's pretty harsh to say now, but yeah, Chitengu looks good for Stirling Uni. So if they're going to pick up some points, give her the ball more.
yeah,
I mean, am I just saying that because she scored? Who knows?
probably.
Yeah, confirmation bias.
Yeah, very true.
She's come up from I think Sheffield United's academy.
Mhm.
So like higher pedigree than like
Freshers week trial.
whatever college or
Yeah.
it's better than Stirling High School. So maybe it's confirmation bias. But
Sorry
still
if
thought
you're
really good.
from Stirling High School, by the way, and you're good at football.
Well, yeah, but I don't think Stirling High School have the facilities of Sheffield United's.
No, probably not. You don't know.
Equally, Lila Varney scored an absolute worldie for her first goal ever, I think. She's like 16.
I thought
And
you
it
scored a
should have
goal
been Screamer of the
like
Week, but Screamers Pod are, they, I don't know, don't like Scotland. They like to say they like Scotland. They like to pretend that they're our pals, but they're not. They hate
It's like
us.
everyone, they get a nice shiny Glasgow City top, and then they, can act the part.
Yeah, but they're not.
You
They're
gotta
not
be,
there at Foundation Park.
you gotta, you gotta be in the mud supporting, Hibs and Celtic.
I also were rich from us, but I did send it to them. So I'm sorry, Lila. I fought for you. It was a worldie, like properly just put like places at top corner with power. Keeper had no chance. So it's not even like you can say, oh, Stirling Uni, you can put it down to goalkeeper mistakes and stuff. Like all the goals Dundee United score, Beth Rennie concedes. So I think Dundee United probably should just be realistically, it should have just been more comfortable for them. I think is the main thing, but definitely if Stirling Uni can score 3 against Dundee United, there's no reason that they can't score 3 against Thistle or Kilmarnock. And definitely then St Johnson or
Livingston, Gartcairn, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's
pick
just
up
a
the points
case
there.
of can they keep the ball out of the net, which is easier said than done. But
Yes,
they've got some good players in defence, so maybe.
Yeah, then it's going to be interesting. I mean, East 5, the only benefit for something is that East 5 have also not picked up a point yet and lost 5-0 this weekend. There's 2 relegation potential, but there's 1 relegation spot. So,
Guaranteed.
you could avoid by picking up 1 point. Or maybe more. You'll be fine.
I feel like 1 point definitely would be relegation. Like at the end of the season, there's no way
Someone
both
clip
teams
that.
don't pick up a point.
Clip it.
No.
Anyway, that's funny.
It's not. I think that's underrating them quite severely.
I would agree. I do think they'll. I don't think they'll pick up
especially
points.
with SWPL 2 chaos. Like
they're
going to win a game at some point just because of a random Spartans who are unbeaten top of the league will go to Fife one day and just lose 6-0.
SPL 2 thing will be Katie Wilkinson decides she wants to go back to uni, go Stirling Uni, wins Stirling Uni the league. I can see that happening. I guess other games this weekend I think may want to put a top of table clash there. Spartans Queen's Park, bit of an SWPL 1 replay. We had Spartans beat them Queen's Park 2-0. Interesting. I think
Do you see Queen's Park's Twitter updates of this game?
I did not. Were they bad or good?
I don't think the referee will be sending them a box of chocolates after the game.
I don't think referees ever do that.
No, but I think this referee they'll be off this referee's Christmas card list.
This referee will actively hate on them.
Yeah.
Okay.
If Lesser Hampden mysteriously burns down like some Glasgow building, I have a
right, yes.
It was harsh. I've not seen the decisions they're talking about, so I can't comment on whether they're correct or not. The Queen's Park Twitter person thinks that they were not correct. I can tell you that much.
Well, that's fair.
To be fair, I think I saw the Spartans photographer also sort of hint at the red card being a little bit dodge.
Right.
So
Listen,
maybe they have a point.
Maybe these things happen though.
It's partly just because it's context for the fact that Spartans only won 2-0, but they also only scored after the red card was given.
Yeah, well, I suppose that's
So
the point.
it's
It's
like, did they
interesting.
win because they're good? Did they win because they were playing against 10?
Probably because they were good. Both. I want to say both.
Both. Okay. Peters defends the referee. Queen's Park.
I
again.
always listen.
That's all I'm
I
saying.
always stand up for the refs. Referee union. I'm not referee. I don't know why I
like-
said that, but I hate referees. To be fair, I actively shout obscenities at them regularly.
I know, which is bizarre. Generally, since it is a talking point in this game, I've said many times, I don't think it's the referee's fault. Individual refereeing performances in SWPL are commonly bad, but I still will always think it's the fact that
they're amateur level 1 refs.
Yeah. It's not like we're getting the cream of the crop, and it's not like they've got loads of support behind the scenes or they're paid heavily and things like that. So it's a structural issue more than an individual ref issue.
I agree.
So any referees listen to this that are like, "You're so mean to referees." Yes.
Well, yeah.
But
I mean,
I also I
yes,
want to get more support. Yeah. But yeah, Spartans are still in the driving seat for promotion with Kelly, which is exciting for me being right in my predictions.
Yeah, I was thinking that Spartans probably look better. They'll kill Kilmarnock and then moving on to other games. So we can Kilmarnock still look the part. 5-0 in East 5 Carragher hat trick. Just continues to be vibe central over on the West Coast. And another 5-0 victory had Burber Thistle beat St Johnstone 5-0 as well. Their hat trick in that one?
No.
See, not as good. There you go.
5 goals, 5 different goal scorers, which I would argue is better.
Well,
it does piss me off because it makes the 5 of the week harder.
Yes, I was going to say. I'd rather one person scored all the goals. Better. Makes it easier.
Yeah.
Although sometimes and just to keep things interesting, sometimes we give it to the person who does all the assists so that we're thinking about it. It's not always just the goals.
To a goalkeeper or a defender.
Yeah. We give it to the goalkeeper whenever Hibs don't win. That's the truth. Hibs don't win. Oh, the goalkeeper's amazing.
No, it's because I'm sick of us playing against good goalkeeping performances.
Yeah, fair enough.
Keepers, what you need to do is you need to go to Hibs games, but sit on your hands for the whole bus journey to the game, so that you've got numb hands, so that you can't play well.
Numb hands. Fair enough.
But yeah, it's not always the goal scorers, but yes. Birmingham Thistle have consistent assists or consistent goal scorers, so
that's interesting. That's good
at all.
Well, helpful for them, I guess. Good for the whole team morale and stuff. Yeah, and then the final game of the weekend was Gartcairn and Livingston. Gartcairn beat Livingston 2-1, which interestingly does keep Gartcairn kind of within the kind of what is it called, race for promotion, I guess, as you would call it. They're on same points as Queen Park, only point behind Dundee United and Birmingham Thistle. 4 points off the top 2 though, but.
Yeah, but it's also been 5 games.
Okay, yeah, so fuck me, right? Let's just not talk about the league ever again. Okay, whatever. These games, the first 20 game season, who cares, man?
You can go, okay, they're level on points with Queen's Park and they're 1 point behind Dundee United.
They played half the league.
Well, yeah, but also they're... Yeah, but I still think it's very early to be like...
All right.
Especially if you're going to be like, just things early.
Thanks for your input. We literally made full league predictions before the league started, and all of a sudden, 2 months later, it's too early.
I think they're where you would expect them to be, because I think that they are the team you would expect to challenge for promotion, challenge for the playoff places. And definitely come top 6 out of the other teams in the league, unless Livingston are going to do it. But equally,
that is what they're doing.
No, that's what they're doing. But I don't know if I don't know if you can say that they're in a promotion hunt, because it's only been 5 games and they're already quite far behind the title. They're as close to the title as they are to relegation, I think.
No, they're not.
Well, to what position is 8th. Point outside relegation.
There's a point of difference, but. Yes, fair enough. They're in the middle of the table, which is where they are, which is where they always are.
Where you thought they would be at the start of the season. So,
yes.
I don't know why you're bigging them up now. You're trying to wreck on your own predictions.
I don't know what I'm trying to do here, man. It's getting late. We have covered everything though, which is quite cool. So, is there any other wee things to chat about? Pick up yourself about? I don't know. We've done something recently. Things coming out soon to mention? No.
No. Tired.
Well, when they do come, they will be on our Substack, Instagram, Twitter. They'll be top up on the podcast. You can get us everywhere there. It's at How's Your Touch. Maybe the underscore in there.
Probably worth mentioning, because I don't think we have actually mentioned it on the podcast, but we have taken the podcast off of Substack.
Oh yeah, two main things to post on. It was listened to very much on Substack. So
yeah, it was one of those where we looked at how many people were actually listening to Substack, and it was kind of like, I don't think this is worthwhile.
You guys can get it on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts and everywhere. So
and it means that our Substack then is less cluttered with stuff, because obviously if you're a subscriber, you get everything emailed to you, and we don't want to be spamming you every week with a podcast email if you're waiting for like a
if you already listen to it, or if you already listen to it on Spotify and then you get an email saying, oh, by the way, it's a bit annoying. So that's why it's not on Substack.
Yeah, if that's a change that you don't like and you have feelings about, you can tell us. We're not against, you're not saying it'll never go back to Substack. It's just we've made the decision because it didn't seem like it was that worthwhile for people, because we actually had more people listening, because for some reason Substack tracks Apple Music listeners, which is, we don't understand why it does that, but more people were listening on the Apple Music bit than were on the Substack bit, on the Substack stats.
Yeah,
which seemed a bit like maybe we don't, because it's already on Apple Music. Maybe it doesn't need to also be on Substack.
Like, yes, basically. Yeah, well, as I say, that's a good point about it's on Apple Music, it's on Spotify, everywhere you want to get it, and then you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, all those places. And yeah, we'll be back next week with more SWPL action. See you all then.